Good morning, you guys. Day number 15 of my stay sabbatical to 50. This is my 100-day journey, trying to change my body, change my mindset. And as I have been doing for most of the days that I've been on this journey, I'm going live, going to talk to you guys while I'm on my first walk. And I've come to enjoy these. I'm enjoying it, getting out here before the sun is up. It's a little bit dark still. All the street lights are still on. It's a cool time of day to walk. I'm on the main drag here, and as soon as I get off this main street, which by the way, this road here, I live off of it. There's a big elementary school that's right over here, and so this time of day, all the teachers and administrators are all getting here. So it's quite busy out on this road at this time of day. By the time I'm done with the walk, all the craziness of the parents and dropping off their kids has already passed, and so I'm almost at the trail start. Sometimes I don't even start the video with you guys till I'm at the beginning of the trail, but today I decided to go a little bit earlier. But I have a cool topic I want to talk about here today, you guys. I'm going to pin it to the top now so you can see. But I want to talk about when changes start to happen on any journey. Sometimes they're not so obvious. Sometimes we're only looking at one specific parameter to change. And on a weight loss journey, a lot of people, the only thing that they look to is what their scale weight says. And look, scale weight, I have my love-hate relationship with that. I think it can be an indicator of things, but it also can fool you. You guys know when you step on a scale and you see a certain number, you go, what the heck? I ate so good that day. I exercised. I did all the right things. And I lost nothing. What? Or even worse, gained a pound or two. And so that's why I'm not a fan. Not a fan of weighing yourself. Not a fan of letting that gravity device determine how I feel about my journey. Which is why I don't really step on it during my journey. The only times I've stepped on the scale was at the very beginning. So I kind of had a nice baseline for where I'm starting. And then that day that I had to take the break, Sunday a week ago, I was really down and discouraged that day that I had to rest. But I wanted to step on the scale, and I just noticed that day, okay, good things are happening. It kind of reinforced that all the work I'm putting in here is actually not in vain. And so those are the things that we usually use to determine how we're doing. Maybe a little bit of how you feel, a little bit of how you look in the mirror. But I want to talk about those subtle changes that maybe aren't so obvious when you're on a journey. Because so many of us bust our ass to accomplish a goal. Be it a health goal, weight loss goal, career goal, relationship goal. A lot of people put in a lot of effort. And I think sometimes when we put in an effort, what comes with that effort is an expectation that because I'm pushing it that hard, I should see X outcome. And look, I think that's the failed part of how people start a journey. They say, well, I'm going to lose 100 pounds in the next 6 months. Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you put parameters around something that, quite frankly, you don't know all the X factors that are going to happen in the next 6 months that may prevent you from losing 100 pounds? And here's the other thing. You set that 100-pound goal in 6 months for whatever reason. It's all arbitrary, the weight and the length of time. But you set that goal, and let's say you lose 75 pounds. Did you fail? In your mind, absolutely you failed. because you told yourself, I'm going to lose X pounds in X time. And so, no, I'm not interested in that. For me, don't set parameters on it like that. Do the work. And a lot of people have said, well, how do you know that you're improving your health and your weight if you're not stepping on a scale or testing your blood? I'm like, really? Really? You don't think it'll be obvious with pictures, which I am taking every day, with how I feel, with the way the clothes are fitting? These are all the little subtle changes that if I'm paying attention, and I am, will become very obvious. And so if you're just joining us, we are on day number 15 of my Stay Sabbatical to 50, my 100-day journey to transform my body and my mind. I definitely want to hear from you if you have any thoughts, so please chime in. But I'm talking about the subtle changes that maybe aren't so obvious when you go on a journey. And I can tell you on this journey, yes, the first thing I noticed was my shirts started fitting a lot looser. You know, you guys could see in the pictures that I posted, my stomach did stick out pretty big, and so that makes the shirt stretch out. And so one of the first things I've noticed is the shirts are laying a lot flatter. So that's cool. You know, if you're not noticing that kind of thing, you might miss it. A friend of mine asked yesterday, so is your energy good? I'm like, look, my energy was good before this. So it wasn't like I was lethargic and now I'm suddenly energetic. I was energetic before. I don't guess I have more energy per se. Maybe I do. I do know I walk faster on this trail. And look, let's celebrate that subtle change. I was not regularly getting in walking every day. And now I am. Now I'm incorporating it. You guys are helping me with that, letting me walk and talk with you. Which, by the way, somebody said, how are you holding that phone? And I'm literally holding it in my left hand and holding it up so I can talk to you guys. So I guess I'm adding an added layer of complexity to the walk, but that's okay. I've done this a while. I can figure it out. But yes, lots of subtle changes. Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to quantify subtlety because sometimes it's changing and then it might take you a few days to kind of go, well, wait a minute. That change is sticking and that's sticking around. For me, it's all like changing your mindset about how you're doing. And that's been really good, by the way, too. That throughout this journey, I have kept my mind intact of what the purpose is. Being that it's not a weight loss journey, that helps a lot, you guys. Can I just highly encourage, if you go on some kind of a journey, don't make the focal point how much weight you want to lose and how much weight you're losing. That is the trap. You get so stuck in that trap because you're pursuing something that literally, at the end of the day, doesn't really tell you a whole lot about how you're doing. And I think so many people put that focus on the weight when they start a journey like this, that when it doesn't give them the expected results, you feel like you failed, like I said earlier. And so I just think you're setting yourself up for disaster if you, starting my first hill, by the way, you set yourself up for disaster if you try to pursue a singular goal. And look, that's why I made my goal in this multifaceted but not related to weight loss. Don't care what the weight loss number says. I want to feel good in my body. I want to be fitter. I want my mindset to be in a good place. If I had to say of all those things so far, the mindset is the strongest. The physicality of change is happening. It's subtle, but it's happening. That takes time. You got to be patient with it. And so I am. Woo. Heading up this hill. I'll show you guys. Goes into this little dark place, but you probably can't see the steepness of it, but it's a nice little hill. Let's put it this way. My shins feel the steepness of this, but it's good. I think the hills have become my favorite part of this walk because I know I'm getting the blood pumping and I'm feeling good. Gets me warmed up. So yes, I'm out on my walk. Day number 15 of the Stay Batical to 50. What do you think about this topic I brought up today? That there are subtle changes. Tell me what some of the subtle changes you've experienced, either on a past challenge that you've done for yourself. What are those things that maybe aren't so obvious, but then you recognize them and you go, whoa, whoa. It's kind of cool when that kicks in and you recognize that really neat things are happening, which is why getting rid of the expectations for how things should go is going to free you from all of that enslavement in your mind. It really is sad that people become so caught up in what they think should be happening, should be the goal, that they psych themselves out. And I get it all the time, by the way. In DMs and email, people will write me and say, I've been on keto for a month. I've expected to lose 15 pounds by now. I've only lost 7. Why isn't it working? So I'm kid gloves with people like this. I'm like, okay, I understand you had hopes and dreams that 15 pounds would happen. But look, 7 pounds did happen. And if you do that again this month, you're going to lose the 15 pounds you're looking for. Why put the parameters on it? And if they come back and say, well, I've seen so-and-so lose 15 pounds in a month, and so I was expecting it. There's a big mistake. Don't compare yourself to other people. That's one big thing. But then the other thing is, how's your health? How you feel? Are you more energetic? Do you have a calmer mood? Are you finding that your clothes are fitting looser? Anything else? Any blood markers that you've run? Blood sugar, insulin, anything? Any blood markers that you've run that can indicate things are happening? And almost invariably, they'll be like, oh yeah, super energetic, able to keep up with my kids, seeing my blood sugar come down, feel great, mood stable, everything's great. And I always throw it back at them at that point and say, so tell me again how keto failed you? How is it that it's not doing anything at all? So these subtle changes, they're real, guys. They're very real. And if you don't recognize them for the obvious nature that they are, and you allow yourself to go down that deep, dark mental hell that tells you you're not good enough, that tells you you're not doing it, that tells you you have failed, you need to kick that shit out of your head right now. That's all I gotta say, because that will paralyze you from ever experiencing any kind of success. I think we talk ourselves out of things that we're doing very good on because our brain wanted something else to happen than what is happening. But you don't celebrate, or you don't bemoan what should have happened. You celebrate what is happening. And I just feel like so many people miss the forest for the trees because these subtle changes are happening. They may not be so obvious, maybe to the naked eye, but when you really closely examine, and in fact, you should do this. Check in with yourself on a daily basis You can do it in the morning, like right now. You can do it later in the day, whatever. Check in with yourself and just think through, how do I feel today? Did I feel like I did well today? Am I feeling any lighter? I can tell you guys, I do feel a lot lighter than when I started 2 weeks ago. So that's good. Are my clothes fitting looser? Any other changes? And when you stop and think about it, and don't step on a scale, but when you stop and think about all the things that have happened for you, and you don't step on the scale and get validated or invalidated by a stupid machine, watch what happens to your demeanor. Watch what happens to your motivation. Watch what happens when you succeed, maybe effortlessly. Maybe you've always beat yourself up in your own mind in the midst of a journey, and you're sabotaging yourself unbeknownst to you consciously. Am I stepping on toes here today? Because I feel like the vast majority of people who try something like keto, carnivore, or try a fitness journey or something, they've already talked themselves out of it day by day by day. So that by the time it fails, they had already come to that conclusion long before. Nobody wakes up one day and says, well, that's it. I'm not doing it anymore. It's not worth it anymore. If you've already had the mindset of checking in with yourself. So do you do that? Does that help you if you do that? If you don't do that, I highly encourage you, check in. Because look, this right here is your biggest enemy. Well, that and wasps stinging you on the trail like they did yesterday. By the way, I'm much better today. I pulled the stinger out. It actually got me not inside the ear, but right there on my, it's just below the earlobe. And I pulled the stinger out. It still hurt for maybe 6 hours yesterday. I had a bee specialist chime in on Facebook, and she said, oh, I know exactly why you got attacked. You were wearing a black shirt. So apparently wasps are racist because they don't like black. Sorry, couldn't resist. But that makes sense. So I got the light blue on today. I don't want to get attacked again. That was crazy, but definitely made life interesting yesterday. So what do you think? Subtle changes that aren't so obvious. What are those that you've noticed on a journey you've been on in the past, or even one you're in now? And even think about beyond weight and weight loss. What would be something that you would want to see change that maybe you've never thought about before? This could be really interesting to see what your response is to that. Well, let's go back to the top and see what you got. Berkeley says, I'm first. Well, welcome, Berkeley. I always appreciate you being here. So many of you have said, I look forward to you walking in the mornings. And even some of you have started walking while I'm doing this. So that's cool. I like that. Good morning, Effort for Transformation. I notice your face is already getting slimmer, no longer inflamed. Yeah. It's funny, when I started this, Berkeley, I didn't realize the redness until I started watching some of the videos back, and I'm like, whoa. I don't notice it obviously on my podcast recordings because I got these bright white lights on my face. I think it might wash out some of that, but watching me, yeah, the only red you're seeing now is from me walking so hard. I do walk at a really good clip, 6'3" and long ass legs, so it's a symptom of my body to walk fast. But yeah, that's a subtle thing that I noticed as well. A lot of people commented that on my side-by-side pictures that I put on social media is, wow, you can really see it in the face. And what's funny is face, arms, legs, if that's all you saw of me, you might not think I got much weight on the body. but then the big weight is all in the middle, which is what all this stuff I'm doing is trying to rectify. Christina says, loving this conversation because I stepped on the scale this morning and was like, what the hell? But I'm less bloated, didn't have to take heartburn medicine to sleep last night. See, that's what I'm talking about. And good for you recognizing that you had good things going on. But I hate that. I hate that diet culture has made us so imprisoned to the scale. And when you're imprisoned to the scale, you're not able to accomplish anything because you're in your own head all the time. And when you get in your own head, how do you hope to succeed? Like this journey is hard enough without having internal thoughts convince me that I'm doing less than what I'm actually doing. And yet stepping on that scale and having a WTH moment, that sabotages so many people. Because here's what happens. And I've been here, I know you've been there. You step on a scale, you're up 2 pounds. And you had done perfect in your diet the day before. You exercised well, you slept well, you did all the things that should have impacted that weight. And you see a 2 pound weight gain. Psychologically, you say, well, if it's going to go up when I do all the right things, I'm just going to go off the rails today because it didn't matter. And psychologically, that screws people's minds so bad. I want to give you a piece of information that I learned many years ago from Dr. Stephen Finney. He's one of the big ketogenic researchers, been out there for decades. And Steve was on one of my podcasts, one of my old podcasts called Ask the Low Carb Experts. And I was asking him about weight loss and the obsession with the numbers and da-da-da-da-da. And he told me something that has stuck with me to this day, and I want to impart it to you guys. He said, if you step on the scale and it's down 5 pounds or up to 5 pounds, so up to 5 pounds, down to 5 pounds from where you started, you're still statistically the exact same weight that you were. Meaning, there are things inside the body, fluid retention, fluid release, things moving around metabolically that will impact your weight in a 10-pound range. And so if you're sitting there, stepping on a scale and letting that 2-pound weight gain mindfuck you and celebrate 2-pound weight loss, which you should, and not realizing that that's within the statistical range of exactly the same number, it changes your perspective, doesn't it? You don't sit there and bemoan that you only lost 2 pounds or that you, oh my God, gained 2 pounds. You see what I'm saying here? This is why I think stepping on the scale is so ridiculous. In fact, there are scales out there now. I actually got one several years ago. I forget the name of it. But there are scales now that have no numbers, but it keeps track on a Bluetooth on your phone, and you step on it, and instead of saying your weight, it says, all right, you're doing great. There are a few things maybe you can work on. Maybe step up your stepping today, 10 more thousand steps, and see what that does for tomorrow. It's like an encouragement. Right here's where I got stung by the bee yesterday, by the way. It's an encouragement to keep going rather than any kind of discouragement. I wish we could abolish the traditional scale. And look, I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything, but if they're trying to keep people frustrated with weight loss and pursuing it as the singular reason and way and means by getting healthy, they couldn't have come up with a more devious device. I'm just being blunt here today, guys. I think that scale should be hammered and blown to smithereens because it's not doing anybody any good. I am going at such a good clip here today, by the way. I'm about 7 more minutes till the halfway point, 30-minute point, and Caldwell Drive is right there. Am I going to blow by Caldwell Drive today? I'm literally walking really fast today, not by design, not purposely. I'm just walking. I think maybe subliminally I'm running away from the bees today, the wasps. Don't want to get stung again. No, that shit hurt. Yeah, it was right about here. I was writhing in pain yesterday, trying to get through the rest of the walk. But does this make sense? Like, you put all your eggs in the basket of changes needing to be on the scale when there's other things going on. So, Christina, I'm proud of you for recognizing the less bloat and no heartburn medicine. That's awesome. Berkeley says, my skin is clearer, my face is less puffy, no more edema in my feet. Those are all great. And look, all the things that I'm doing, from the infrared sauna to the ice baths to the red light therapy to the meditation, which I'm having trouble still with, but the grounding, the sunshine, all the things, all of that I think is contributing to why these subtle changes are happening. It's not just the diet, it's not just the carnivore and the fasting, it's everything. So I'm excited. So here we are. I'm trying to do the math. I have 5 more minutes, guys. Look how far ahead of pace I am. This right here, where that white truck is pulling out, that is Caldwell Drive. And I have 5 more minutes until it's 30 minutes, which means if I don't get run over, I'm going to walk across the street here and continue on the trail. That's going to be a dangerous intersection to try to cross, but whoop, whoop. Hello, Rock Springs. Going to see how far I can get. I've not been down to this part of the trail in a little while. But guys, I just blew by like several minutes, the furthest I've ever gone. I am walking today. I think that bee sting put something in me to make me go further today. So I'm actually excited to see where I do end up, because this is way the hell out there. Keep in mind, it's just 60 minutes. I'm not putting a length of mileage that I'm going to be walking. I'm not putting any kind of parameters like that. People are asking me, how far are you walking? I'm like, I don't know. I walk 30 minutes and I turn around and go back and get home in an hour. That's all I'm doing here today. Wow. This is cool. I love the new sights and sounds of this far down in the trail. Now this trail goes a hell of a long way, so I don't think even by the end I could do it all in an hour. One time I walked the whole trail all the way to the end. It was like an hour and a half, maybe hour and 45 minutes. I get to the end and it just stops. It doesn't loop around. And so I thought it looped around. And I saw a neighbor and I said, where's the trail continue? He said, oh, you're at the end of it. I was like, so I have to turn around? He went, yep. And I was so tired when I had done this trail. So I know how far it is, sadly. I don't think I could do it in an hour on one big walk. I would have to be running. And look, I think at some point, if I get lighter in the midsection, maybe I'll want to jog or run. I won't turn that down. I don't anticipate that. I hate running. I hate jogging. But I only hate it because I'm heavy in the middle. Maybe when I get lighter and my ankle is more healed, which, by the way, my ankle's holding up pretty well. Been putting a lot of weight on it when I climb stairs just to see how it is. I still feel it a little bit, but it's not near the pain it has been. So, good morning. Hearing you with my 3rd cup of coffee. That's one thing I can't do. I just don't like coffee, Anna. I'm the weirdo. Everybody likes coffee, Jimmy. Not Jimmy. Jimmy, it tastes like an ashtray. It's gross. No. Can't do it. I can't do it, Captain. Just can't do it. All right. Here is my new turnaround road. We're going to turn around at Lena Lane, it looks like, because I'm right at that halfway point. Lena Lane. I wonder if Lena is related to Lois Lane. Just kidding. All right. Ooh, let me show you. It's pretty in the sky this time of day. A bit of an incline coming back, so I got a new challenge today. I like that. Nothing wrong with that. Kira says, I weigh daily. I test blood daily. I log all my food daily. It's just data. I may be a weirdo. I don't take the data personally. Well, you are a weirdo, Kira, because a lot of people do. And look, I've been at this 17 years. I've done the testing of my weight daily. I've done the testing of my blood daily. I've written down journal entries of every little morsel of everything. And I've done that for so long. This one, I didn't want any parameters. And quite frankly, remember, this is the original journey I was going to do 2 years ago when I went away on sabbatical. And everybody's like, are you going to weigh? You're going to test your blood? Da-da-da. And I'm like, look, guys, I just want to do a journey without all that extra. It's that extra stuff that I think can like deter a lot of people. And you don't have to do all these things. This is a lesson I want to teach you if you're going to start your own journey. And I do encourage you guys to start at the 50-day mark and do 50 days of your own personal challenge. But don't let the supposed to's paralyze you. Because, if you're going to go on a journey where you're going to lose weight, you're supposed to check your weight. Who says? Well, if you're going to eat keto carnivore and do all these things, you need to test your blood sugar and your ketone levels. Who says? Now, look, if you want to do those things, that's all well and good. And I highly recommend it if you've never done anything like this before to track to see. But look, after a while, if you put in the effort and you put in the sweat equity, as they call it, you're going to see results. And the only reason we don't see results is we become so obsessed, not like you, Kira. You figured it out. You don't let it bother you mentally. But a lot of people do. They let it bother them immensely from a mental standpoint. Well, I need to be weighing. I don't want to gain a single pound this whole journey, which is nonsensical. You're going to have ups. You're going to have downs. That's how this game works. And the moment we think weight loss is linear, I should lose exactly a half a pound a day, every day, throughout the journey, you're just fooling yourself. Look, I've done long-term fasts of 21 days where I've tested myself and weighed myself, tested my blood sugar, tested everything. And hang on, I'm crossing Caldwell Drive, the old halfway point. Whew. And so I've done all the things, and it will go up. Even on a fast, your weight can go up. So why do we think that when we're eating a healthy diet like keto or carnivore, that we should never see the weight ever go up? I hope I'm convincing you that scale is stupid. If you're going to weigh, step on it, then put it away for a couple weeks, maybe 3 weeks, maybe a month, and then step on it again if you want to. And look, I did step on it on day one, and I think I did step on it about 4 or 5 days ago. And I'm double digit down in weight. But that doesn't tell me anything. it just confirms what I'm already seeing in the pictures, where the stomach is getting smaller. And so I don't need that scale to validate what I'm seeing with my own eyes. And I hope that's a subtle change that may not be so obvious at first. And I got to tell you and admit to you, when I took the picture on day 1 and then started comparing the pictures as the days progressed, even up to day 12, where I posted that picture and you can see the difference, I didn't immediately see the difference because it was just so subtle to my eye being in the midst of this. And sometimes you're so close to your own journey, you can't see what others are seeing. I remember in my original Atkins weight loss in 2004, I was paying attention to the scale, so I knew how much weight I was losing. But it wasn't so obvious to a lot of people. And I've joked many times in interviews, nobody noticed I had lost weight until I had lost 100 pounds. 100 pounds, you would think they would have noticed it. 50 pounds, 75 pounds, but no. 100 pounds, suddenly everybody and their mama's like, did you get a haircut? Something's different about you. It just like was one day, bam, everybody was asking about it. And everybody was wondering. Something's changed. So you don't always notice it. Whew. All right, I'm coming back on the original halfway point when I first started this. That tells you how much further down that I've gotten. That's a good feeling, by the way, because that's a hell of a long way from where I ended up. That's a subtle change I will take. And I would say today it was a not so subtle change because I blew by it is the point. I was trying to process, what do I want to say? I blew by my old longest point, so happy about that. Keep Austin keto, sorry, Austin. This time different body composition, lifting weights. Yes. Change things up. And look, in the midst of this journey, I'm probably going to start adding things as my fitness gets better. I think I've already talked about this trail. When this trail no longer is a challenge, I will need to try to seek out trails with more hills, maybe a little more length. But this one's got good length, so I'm not worried about that. It's very noisy with all the cars driving by. That's the only bad thing. I would prefer to be in the middle of the woods, walking with no cars blaring by. That would be my ideal, but I would have to drive somewhere to get to a place like that. Berkeley says this is the first time I have not weighed every day on the journey, accepting that if I will do the work, that changes will happen. Yes. Look, I think that's evident. That's like obvious. That I don't need to weigh to know that change is happening. I can subjectively feel changes, so I don't need a scale to tell me. All right, check this out. Let's say you wake up, you feel great, you slept well, you're full of energy, you're very positive, all these good things, your mind is clear, you're ready to take on the day and everything, and then you step on the scale and you're up a pound. What happens to the enthusiasm that you had just based on how you felt when you woke up? You just popped the balloon. You let all the air out of it. And to me, that's a travesty. Because what actually changed? Did anything change from the time you woke up and felt great to the time you stepped on the scale and saw a gravity detecting device show you're up 1 pound? Anything? That's it. Just your mind. You allowed that to get in your head. And to me, that is the most devious of all devious things you can do, is try to convince someone who's doing very well that they're doing very bad. And we do it to ourselves. We sabotage every good effort that we're putting in. And when we do that, what do you expect? When you start having a negative attitude about how you're doing, how do you ever expect to be successful? You won't, is the answer. Anna says, I don't have any sound. I have this issue on many lives, so carry on. Stay strong. Thank you, Anna. Sorry your sound isn't working. I would assume people would be like, we can't hear you. We just see your mouth flapping and you're sweating. So, hope you get that worked out. Sandra says, I haven't weighed myself since December. Only know my weight because I am a Dexa technician. Yes. Somebody mentioned Dexa yesterday, by the way, you guys. If you've never had a Dexa scan, I've had many, but if you've never had one, find somewhere where they can run a Dexa. And basically what it does, it's like a Xerox machine of your whole body. Now, I'm 6'3", Sandra, so I know you know the tall guys. It takes us a little longer to make a fax of us going through that machine all the way from head to toe. A little while, but you little short girls, 5'4" and below, y'all will get done very quickly. But what it shows you is your lean mass, which is your muscle. It shows you your fat mass, which is the amount of body fat on the body. And then the last thing it shows is your bone density. And so a lot of people get Dexa scans when they get older because of osteoporosis, osteopenia, those kinds of conditions. Many athletes use the Dexa scan to see how much lean mass that they have put on because they're trying to bulk up and get stronger. And then people on a weight loss journey, you want to see, okay, you lost X number of pounds on the scale. How much body fat have you lost? So when you get comparison Dexa scans, you can see before and after. And I've done that before. In fact, I did a Dexa scan before I did a long fast. I think I did a 21-day fast. Got a Dexa scan before and a Dexa scan after. It's just fascinating to watch how the human body can change, and change in short order in a good way. So that's cool. It took many years for my body to get down to a good weight, and I'm trying not to lose any more muscle. I can lift weights or walk more, or I can't lift weights or walk more than a few steps. That is a challenge when you can't move the way you want to move. I'm very grateful that despite twisting my ankle, despite getting stung by a wasp, I'm able to walk despite my low back, which, by the way, that is loads better, but they're still working on it daily. And she hit one part of my low back yesterday, and the pain just went through the roof. So I was like, all right, it's not better yet. Whatever's out of alignment there, it's not better yet. So still holding off on flipping the tire. But that is my goal. One of these days is to get on camera and say, all right, guys, I'm ready to flip the tire today. I'm going to keep working. I think one thing that will help is continuing to lose belly fat, so that I don't put added pressure on that back when I'm flipping the tire. Maybe that's what it was. So we shall see. Stay tuned. Kira says, when I'm up 2 pounds, it's usually because I drink enough water or I didn't poop. Basically, I'm full of shit. Oh, Kira, I love you. You're amazing. Yes. Pay attention to those things too. She's so right. If you made sure you were fully hydrated and it ends up being 1 pound weight gain the next day, better than getting dehydrated, being down a pound or two the next day, but you're dehydrated, which has negative implications on your health. So your water consumption does matter. Your proximity to your last meal does matter. There's so many things. And then you ladies, God bless you, especially you menstruating ladies, you got special little times of the month where don't even step on the scale, just asking for it. You really are. I'm glad I'm a dude, because that would just frustrate me. And I know it frustrates a lot of women. This is why women obsess about weight loss, because you've got maybe a few weeks there where you're rolling, and then along comes the week before your cycle begins, or the bleed begins, and it's all she wrote. Yeah, no thank you. I don't want that burden, because this is hard enough without that. So massive respect to all you ladies who try to do a change. But don't let that discourage you. That's biology. That's how you're wired. That's how you ladies are the amazing people that you are. You're going to have that extra challenge. And look, I think God knew when he made woman that she could handle a lot more than the dudes can. So let's give her this challenge, because she's strong AF. I believe that. DJ Proof Positive. The scale just shows your gravitational pull on your body. It is not your self-worth. Just like calories don't tell you what is happening in your body with nutrition. Exactly. What's funny about the calorie thing is most of the calorie counts on various foods, and especially box foods, they are so grossly off that how are you supposed to know actually how many calories you're having? And quite frankly, at the end of the day, why does it matter how many calories that you're having? I wish there was a way that we could detect progress in like weight loss and health that did not require knowing a calorie equation or a weight, how much weight you've lost. Because if we could have thought of the most rudimentary ways to determine your progress, hi guys, then they couldn't have come up with more rudimentary than counting calories, which are so arbitrary. You're acting like every calorie is the same. Fat calories are more dense, or fat is more dense than calories, but it's more satiating and blood sugar stabilizing than carbohydrate. And yet, you see something with 100 calories, if it's all carbohydrate, that's far different than a half a pat of butter, which is also 100 calories. Those two are not the same. And so we psych ourselves out into thinking those things matter. And same with body weight. We psych ourselves out. I love, and many people have done this, but Mark Sisson, the Primal Blueprint guy, Mark's Daily Apple, if you have never read his blog, it's really good. But he showed a picture in one of his books of two ladies side by side. And they did not have the same body composition. And yet, they weighed exactly the same. Both of them were 130. And he said, if I didn't tell you their weights and I asked you which one weighed more, you would have chose the one that looked bigger. But you would have been wrong. The one that was tinier and yet weighed the same had more muscle. And that muscle was adding to the gains on the scale to make it look like she was much smaller than the other one and weighed less. I think the thing that pushed me over the edge when it came to, and this is long before I started keto, when it came to weight was Michael Jordan in his heyday with the Chicago Bulls. Nobody would look at Michael Jordan and call that man overweight or obese. But he was technically, because of his BMI, body mass index, he was technically in the overweight, and I think they even said slightly obese category. And of course, it was all predicated on all the muscle on his body. The man took care of his body, which is why he played so well and so long. And LeBron James, same thing now. Beast of an athlete, lots of muscle, and yet he's in the obese category. So long have kind of like rolled my eyes at BMI meaning anything, your weight meaning anything. You're not seeing a true representation of how you're doing. Remember that song, Ain't Nothing Gonna Break My Stride? Yeah, I remember that song. See, I'm an 80s kid, so of course I remember that song. You got to keep a moving. Yes, I know. Thank you for that. Jogging is hard on the knees. Well, I do have a left, or maybe it's my right. I haven't felt any knee pain throughout this first 15 days, by the way. But I have had little tweaks in the knees here and there. Look, I'm 49, turning 50 in December. If I didn't have a little something going on, I would be a bionic man. But yeah, the main thing I'm feeling today is that left ankle. It's not hurting. It's just I can feel that it's like, all right, bruh, don't take one bad step or I'm going to let you really feel me. So, but yes, I'm in the home stretch here. I go downhill and then cross the street and then go uphill and then I'm out in 5 minutes from home. So, do I like tea, says Holly? Not really. I'm not a coffee guy. I'm not a tea guy. I just don't get it. I don't see why I need those things. Number one, coffee and tea both are a diuretic, meaning they suck water out of your body. And one of my goals in this has been to make sure I'm well hydrated. And I'm drinking plenty of water, getting plenty of electrolytes, replenishing all this salt that I'm losing through the sweat. But no, I don't know. I remember Mama used to have sweet tea when we were growing up. I like sweet tea because it was just sugar, basically. So, but I never acquired a taste at all for coffee. I remember I did an internship in college, and I went back to my hometown to work in the court office because I was getting a political science degree. And they're like, "Hey, want some coffee?" I'm like, "Ugh, no." And they're like, "Oh, come on, everybody drinks coffee." So I appeased them, and I had the little styrofoam cup and the little bun machine that made the coffee. And they're like, "Here, put some creamer in it." Now, creamer was that powdered crap, not heavy cream, but that powdered stuff. And then they're like, "Oh, here's some sugar packets as well." Remember, this is in the early 90s. And so I'm not anywhere close to trying to pursue health at that point. And so I put the sugar in it, and it tasted really sweet, but I could still taste that really bitterness of coffee that I just don't like. I think because I'm a hyper sensor, that hyper taste kicks in. And I've even been to Australia a few times, and I remember they said, try our coffee, mate. You're gonna love it. It's the best in the world. And I'm like, I don't like coffee, but you're gonna love ours. And I sipped it to appease him. I used some stevia and some heavy cream, and at least I didn't vomit when I put it in my mouth. So no, my vice in that realm, instead of tea, Holly, in the past I've done diet soda. I've done lots of like carbonated types of drinks, which I know aren't great for you either. So yeah, it's pick your poison, I suppose, at this point. Let's see. It's impossible to weigh the same every single day. I've been in maintenance and I fluctuate 10 to 12 pounds. Good morning. Here's the doggy. I think he comes out on his walk the same time every day like I do. So on my way back, he's starting his, so that's fun. Thanks for all the inspiration. You're welcome, Linda. That's what I'm here for, my dear. Christina says, what's the cost of a Dexa Scan? I go up the road about 2 hours from my house to this guy, Dr. Galvin. I think he lives Concord, North Carolina, and I'm in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And that's about right. You may not find one real close to you, but he's the closest to me. And I'm trying to remember what he charges. I think it's around like $100, but if you buy multiple of them from him, knowing that you're going to get more in the future, I think if you buy 5, you get 1 free or something. Anyway, should be around $100. Sandra says less than $100 in Denver, and you get a package deal. So yes, just what I just said. Your ketorific journey, ditch the scale. So many other biomarkers show your progress. Yeah. I'm on the second hill now, you guys. So many other markers will show your progress. Rawr. Gotta get up this hill. I'm actually doing quite well with the hill. Obvious slowdown. Obviously feeling my legs, having to drive this. But that's the fun. Trying to determine if this one's steeper or that one's steeper. I think that one, when you get to that wooded area, goes a little steeper. This one's pretty intense though. This one's much longer in the steepness with the incline, but I'm doing all right. I hate BMI, it's so deceiving. Yes, if you determine, or your doctor determines, that your BMI makes you obese, number one, flip them the middle finger. Just kidding. No, I'm not. And ask for a Dexa Scan. Ask for a float tank to weigh yourself. There's many different ways than to look at BMI. I don't know what it is about that 5-letter word, obese, but it's such a pejorative. Even though it was never intended to be, it's just the condition where your BMI is at a certain percentage of fat. That's literally all obese means. But I think they start talking about the obesity epidemic and the obesity. I remember interviewing a vegan doctor, Dr. John McDougall, and he would get on a rant about obese, and he would say it exactly like that. I'm like, are you trying to make it sound worse than it is, Dr. McDougall? Obese. It's like, geez, I don't have time for people like that. I like cream soda Zevia with plain Topo Chico. Yeah, if that floats your boat and that's something that you want, certainly nothing wrong with those kinds of things. All right, guys, I'm on day 15 of my sabbatical to 50. In 35 days, I'm going to be inviting you guys to come in and join me on this journey with your own challenge. So start thinking now. Don't just mimic what I'm doing, because number one, that's insane. But do your own things that will challenge you. Maybe you're doing nothing right now, and just simply going out on a 30-minute walk and cleaning up your diet will be a challenge enough for you. Whatever you determine is going to challenge you, do it. And challenge doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Challenge means, yes, do things that you're capable of, but do a little more than that. When I told a friend of mine the other day, who's an exercise and nutrition guy, the 2 60-minute walks I'm doing, he's like, Jimmy, that's a lot. I'm like, I know. I'm trying to push myself beyond what I'm capable of so I can see how far I really am capable of. He said, that's admirable, but just be careful. So because of my left ankle still kind of being tweaked, I didn't want to push 2 walks since I did that. So I've been getting in this 1 walk a day since that accident. So I think he's right. So, and I think because I wake up in the mornings and I'm mildly sore from all the things, he's probably right that if I had done the second workout, I would feel that. So I will get back to it in due course. But one step at a time. Brandy says, I started my challenge in August, going to the gym 5 days a week. Brandy, that is awesome, girl. I see my friend Brittany is going to the gym now, and she's done the Stairmaster. She ran a 10-minute mile yesterday. Like, you can push yourself to do greater things, and it's something I constantly try to do in my own life, even beyond this journey. When I feel like I've become comfortable with something, I have to push myself further than that. I think it's one thing that has helped me succeed in business, for example, writing books. When I feel like I've got a process down, but there's a better way to do it, I'll tweak my way to do it. And in fact, in my podcasting, same thing. Like, I'm always seeking to be better. Even though people say you do such a good job with it, I'm always trying to be better by challenging myself to step it up some more. And so it applies in any area of your life where you're being challenged. All right, you guys, I'm going to pop off of here for now. Thank you so much for joining me on my walk. As always, I love doing these morning walks with you guys. It definitely helps the time pass by, and I definitely get to brain dump a lot of my thoughts in the midst of this. So this is cool. This is my crazy part of crossing the road. So I'm going to sign off for now. We'll see you later. Bye.